Hey guys, so you're thinking of getting a RAV4 Hybrid, and I got one. So here are 6 reasons why I decided to get mine. The first is it's a hybrid. Generally, I want to get something that's efficient on gas in stop and go traffic, but I also sometimes drive outside of the city and I don't want to be looking for an electric charging station. So for those reasons, hybrid makes sense. Now, I also consider the plug-in hybrid, but after doing some math on how much I drive and also how much it costs, the additional money of the plug-in hybrid doesn't justify the amount of gas that I'll be saving if I just bought a normal hybrid. One of the cars that I considered while picking this RAV4 Hybrid was the Mazda CX50 Hybrid. It's a new car that was released in 2025, and it basically has the same drivetrain as the RAV4, which means it's a Mazda in the streets and a Toyota in the sheets. In the end, the RAV4 won out because it's likely that this is the final year that they're going to be producing this generation of the RAV4. Which brings me to the second point, and that's redesigns and refreshes. You see, for Mazda, it's going to be the first year that they're going to be working with the CX50 Hybrid. And what that means is there's going to be some growing pains. And chances are you're going to be facing some issues 2 or 3 years down the line. On the other hand, this is likely to be the last model year of this generation of the RAV4. All the bugs and issues are fixed already. And so this is going to be the best the car is going to be until a new generation comes out. Comparing to last year's 2024 model, this year is basically exactly the same, just with a $600 price bump. What's more is if Toyota does decide to redesign the RAV4 for next year, then there's likely going to be a price bump, and it's also going to go through the same growing pains. And since I want to keep this car for the next 10 years, I don't want to be a guinea pig for a new generation. Now, back onto pricing, and this is the third point. Normally, I calculate price as how much it would cost me over 10 years to own the car. And I chose 10 years because this is typically when you make the decision of whether or not to keep the car or to sell it off and get a new one. If you live in Canada like me, then all our roads are salted. And so this is especially true once rust builds up and the car starts growing holes. Let's move over to the spreadsheet. We'll take a look at how I do the math. So here's a quick look at the expected price for the RAV4 in 10 years. Here I take the MSRP, which is about $43,000. Then after about 10 years, you get about $22,000 back if you were to sell it. And I got this number from Car Edge, which will tell you how much the resale value is after 10 years. For oil changes, it's about $140 Canadian. You do that twice a year for 10 years. For gas costs, this is about how much it would cost me over 10 years based on how I drive. And for insurance costs, it's about $1,000 a year for 10 years. This gives me a total of almost $50,000 for the RAV4. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the CX50. And as you can see, it's about $7,000 more to own the CX50 Hybrid in 10 years than it is for the RAV4. And the next reason is repairability. Although you don't expect Toyota cars to break down or anything like that, if it does, Toyota is going to stock its parts. And if in 20 years Toyota decides that the parts are no longer going to be available, well, you could just hit up the junkyard and find the part that you need there. If you don't like to do things yourself, almost all independent shops are willing to work on RAV4s. The next point is community and aftermarket accessories. RAV4, because it's so popular, there's so many different third-party parts that are built for it. So for example, if you wanted to get bigger tires that look more aggressive, then you can do that. You can get lights for your grills, you can get lights for your trunk. Chances are, if you can think of a replacement part, there's probably a replacement part for it. But it's not just the parts that are important, it's also the community. Once again, because the RAV4 is so popular, if you have any question about the RAV4, somebody else has probably also asked the same thing. If you're wondering exactly what this heart rate monitor does, a quick Google will tell you exactly that. And finally, the biggest reason why I got the RAV4 is because of Comma AI. Basically, it's an oversized phone that you stick onto your windshield, and it's able to tap into the Toyota's lane centering system. This allows you to have a much better and much more sophisticated lane centering than Toyota's default. lane centering system. So let me tell you a story of why I thought this feature was so important. At the time, I had a choice between the Mazda CX50 Hybrid and the 2025 RAV4 Hybrid. And both cars run on the Toyota hybrid drivetrain. They both checked off all the features that I needed, but the Mazda was able to check off more of the features that I wanted. So things like a panoramic roof and a latch where I'm able to fold the seats from the trunk. Also, the driving feel of the Mazda feels much better than the RAV4. Basically, it's just a better car overall for pretty much the same price. And normally this would have been a no-brainer choice, but what pushed me over to the RAV4 was Comma 3X device. You see, the Comma 3X is able to keep you centered, which takes out all the boring parts of a highway drive. And what's more, while it's active, you don't have to nudge the steering wheel every 5 or 10 seconds. As long as you're looking at the road, the car will keep on driving without you having to touch the steering wheel at all. Another benefit of the Comma 3X is that it's able to navigate roads where you have cars parked on the side of it. Of course, like any device, there's several limitations. For this one, it's only really able to navigate gentle turns. So if you're at an intersection and want to do a left or a right-hand turn, then you would have to take over and manually negotiate the turn. Now that I had the device and the car for almost 2 months, to me, I think it was worth it, even though the Mazda had a much better driving feel compared to the RAV4. And so there you have it, 6 reasons why I chose the RAV4. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.